Hi everyone, you're watching Good for the Game TV, and this is our Tour de France Stage 4 betting preview and update. We'll take a look at tomorrow's stage, and we'll also have a look at what happened in Stage 3. It was an absolute thriller, and Julian Alaphilippe, the stage favourite, well, he won, but not in the way most of us were expecting him to. Everybody thought it would be a sprint, but he went early on the penultimate climb, and he managed to ride away and win the race. Absolutely superb performance by Alaphilippe. And when he's at his best, well, there's few things better to watch in cycling. Let's have a look, though, at the results of the stage. We had Alaphilippe, who I had on a match bet over Sagan at even money. He arrived. Michael Matthews led the troops home. Perhaps strange that his Sunweb didn't do a little bit more in the final stretch to bring things back. Jasper Stuyven, yes, I dropped him from our fantasy team last night. Can you believe it? He runs third. And in fact, I dropped Trentin as well, and both of them running into the top six. So a bit disappointing for me that. Sagan, well, he was right thereabouts, but didn't quite look to have the punch of old. And there was no real GC carnage, and at least everyone seemed to stay upright on the bike, which was quite important. Let's just have a quick look at the general classification, and we'll see here that Alaphilippe has moved into the lead. Wout van Aert, who would have expected perhaps to take yellow from his teammate today, wasn't quite strong enough, and he is 20 seconds back. The big boys are all starting to gather, the likes of Egan Bernal and Geraint Thomas there from Ineos. Let's have a look then at the latest outright betting. I'm going to go across to a Sunbet for that. And we've got Bernal, who continues to be firm at 17-10. Geraint Thomas, 24-10. Jakob Fuglsang, he's 10-1. You can get 11-1. Kruiswijk. Pinot, who did very nicely today, finished, I think, in 10th position. He is 14-1 alongside Adam Yates, with Nairo Quintana 16-1. That's the outright betting, but let's move on to stage 4 now, and we'll have a look at the profile. It's a lengthy stage, another one, nearly 214 kilometers, and a little bit lumpy, but pretty much a flat stage. This is a stage that the sprinters are expected to contest. One thing we must point out, though, is that there's a 3.2 kilometer climb averaging 5% gradient, which is not too steep, but certainly significant enough that if perhaps the likes of Quick Step ride it very hard, they might be able to shake off Dylan Groenewegen, particularly if he is still carrying injuries from that fall on day one. On the other hand, they can certainly put some of the other sprinters under pressure to the point that they have, 15 kilometers from the top of the climb to catch back on, and you'll have to work hard to catch the guys in front. And it might just be that they're able to deaden the legs of some of the sprinters as well. Let's have a quick look at the last kilometer. It's a pretty easy last kilometer. I believe the roads in that are quite wide. There it is, very much a flat, if not slightly downhill, really. So it's going to be a real power sprinters race, this. Just want to give a guy a shout-out here on Twitter, a guy called Will Newton, at Inside Peloton 96. He previews each stage on Twitter. And what he does is he has the opening profile, and then down below, he literally goes through the whole stage. He shows you photos of the hills, of different corners, and he analyzes it all on Twitter and ultimately arrives at his verdict, which I'll get to in a second, is that Groenewegen, he believes he is going to win this one. So certainly worth a look at that. So that's the stage then. I do think it might be a little bit tougher than it looks, if I can put it that way. I've got a feeling that we are going to see some action and some of the teams attempt to break the sprinters tomorrow. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a reduced peloton. It'll still be pretty big, but we're going to see a tough man win the sprint. Let's have a look then at the stage betting. I'm going to go to Hollywood Bets here. They got Viviani at 2-1. Now, there's been some betting movement. Groenewegen open favourite around the 2-1 mark. He's been quite firm, but Viviani, there has been a bit of money for him from around the 22-10 levels, and there is some support coming for him now. He, of course, rides for the Quick Step team, and there are question marks over Groenewegen as a result of that crash. Caleb Ewan, who tried his best to hang on today, but was dropped on one of the climbs coming in, he is 9-2, with Peter Sagan also 9-2. And Zolo, the Dimension Data rider, he looks like a man who's going through a bit of a second lease on life at the moment. He's 22-1. I think he could be thereabouts. Sonny Colbrelli, he would be more suited by an uphill sprint than this. And the same can be said of Matthews. They're not as fast as the likes of Viviani and Groenewegen on a flat finish like this. Christophe, he hasn't shown us much so far, but it's a long, wide stretch, and I saw that Will in his preview did seem to think that Christophe would be suited by the finish. Mike Tennyson, well, he fought hard in the yellow jersey, but we did see him fade today. The only way he contends is if Groenewegen doesn't make it over the final climb, and that is a possibility But it leads me to my little pick for this stage, and I'm going for a long shot here, just half a unit down. Wout van Aert, he also rides for the Jumbo-Visma team, and he is 50 to 1. Now, obviously, the assumption in the betting is that he's going to be working for Dylan Groenewegen. But I just have a feeling, I think there's a chance, obviously, that Groenewegen could struggle on that final climb, particularly if he's carrying injuries. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they put the eggs in the Wout van Aert basket. Now, he sprinted very well in the Dauphiné, and he may not have the straight line speed to beat a Viviani, but after a long, hard stage where perhaps there's a bit of chasing back on to do, you never know. I think he offers a little bit of a nice interest there at 50 to 1. Let's go across to the match bets. I'm just going to show you a match bet treble that I'm taking then. So this is now riders put it up against each other. So I've got first leg, Caleb Ewan to beat Peter Sagan. That's at 11 to 10. So that's the first leg. I just think Ewan will have a little bit too much speed for Sagan in the final stretch, and I do expect both of them to certainly make it into the bunch sprint. Then my next leg is Viviani against Groenewegen. He's 6 to 10. Quite interesting that they level in the betting, but Viviani is quite a firm favorite in the head-to-head, and that is, of course, because there's probably more scenarios where Viviani can beat Groenewegen than Groenewegen can beat Viviani, although it is generally accepted if both of them are given equal opportunity on this particular finish, that Groenewegen would probably win, but he may battle to get there to the end. The other leg then, 7 to 10. I've been impressed with Nizzolo in this race, and I haven't really been impressed with Christophe. I feel he's lost a lot of his old speed, and I'm going for him there at 7 to 10. Let's just skim down. This is hollywoodbets.net, and the treble works out at 4.71. Some of the bookmakers do show these match bets as related, even on occasion when they're not. And I was pleased to see that Hollywood will allow you to take that treble because they don't quote any of the riders multiple times in their match bet market. So there is absolutely no related betting there. So I'll be placing that bet, and let's go across quickly to the Good for the Game forum. This is where I place all my bets. It's goodforthegame.co.za. Look for GFTG forum and make sure you follow this thread. I'll put a link to it below the video as well, because this really is where all of the punters come. We've got 5 or 6 of us come every day and share our bets, and you often get some good stuff coming out of here. So I'll be posting my bets on there, and looking forward to that. If you haven't actually been on our channel before and you enjoy the Tour de France, or for that matter betting of any kind, because we do a lot of rugby betting previews as well. Our flagship show is on a Thursday night. That's the handicap rugby chat that matters. Then make sure you go below the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell as well. And by all means, give us a share or retweet, whatever you want. The more followers we can get, the better. Thanks very much for watching. Should be an interesting stage tomorrow. I wouldn't bother watching until about the last 30 kilometers or so. After that, things should start hotting up.